All right, and just like that, we are back with another Flight Club package. April is here, and despite being pretty nice and sunny out right now, it is, time for April showers, and then they will be followed by May flowers, but we got a lot going on in April. Easter, Passover, Earth Day, so we are going with an Earth Day theme, thus the camo attire. I actually got some support trees pants on, if you can't see that, that's what it says, and we got a gorgeous earthy set up by Christine, working here at Worldwide. Big shout out. I think this is one of our best looking sets yet and can really live into the theme. So with that being said, we're gonna hop right into it and go over April's Flight Club package. To begin, we're actually gonna be heading to Sudbury, Massachusetts, which is not too far from Boston. I grew up in Massachusetts myself. We're gonna be tasting the Goodnow Farms Asochivite Guatemala 77% single origin dark chocolate bar. They are one of the finest chocolate makers in the world, and that is in a literal sense. I believe in the year of 2021, Goodnow Farms was awarded the most global awards out of any chocolate maker in North America. So they're the #1 awarded North American chocolate maker. So you can see Guatemala on the map right in and around this area. I'm not sure if the plants are kind of in the way, but Central American cacao, it actually has some pretty deep Mayan roots. So, some of the oldest civilizations known to be consuming chocolate were the Aztecs and the Mayans. These cocoa beans are actually being farmed by Mayan farmers in the Chivite region in Guatemala, which again, you can see Guatemala right up in here. The owners, husband and wife duo, Tom and Monica, will kind of, make trips to each of these regions that they're working with to kind of learn more about what the farmers are doing, what sort of processing they have on site, as well as, getting an actual good firsthand taste and experience of the cocoa beans that they'll be working with. When Tom and Monica first visited this farm in Guatemala, it was in pretty dire need of, kind of an upgraded fermentation and drying bed area. That was, a bit underserved in that particular farm, but the cocoa quality was kind of cream of the crop, so to speak. So Tom and Monica, seeing the high quality cocoa beans in Guatemala, actually put forth a fund to go out and fully fund the fermentation and drying areas of this farm so they could, consistently produce high quality cocoa beans without, the fermentation process yielding any mold or anything that might risk, kind of a bad batch of cocoa beans. So they've, fully revamped their materials and infrastructure, and now, it's resulting in some of the most awarded chocolates in the world, literally. We also did include some of the Goodnow Farms, kind of sell sheets. It will show you like literally stamps of some, and yes, I know it looks like a lot, but this is like a mere fraction of all of the awards that Goodnow Farms has won. Bear with me when it comes to the pronunciation of some of these words that I'm not too keen on saying all the time. For example, the name of the Mayan farmers who harvest these cocoa beans is written right here on the back. It's the Kekchi Maya farmers. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed I nailed that nail on the head. And you'll also be able to see, you'll be picking up tasting notes of green banana and mango. For all of you first-time sign-ups, we've included a tasting wheel for you so you can get a better sense of which aromas and kind of flavor profiles you might be picking up. And for all of those who haven't already, you know the deal. Use your tasting note cards and try to pick up those other secondary notes and subtle nuances. And you got a party. So, happy April, happy Earth Day. And let's keep it on and exploring this globe. Okay, so now that we have covered Goodnow Farms, we'll be moving on to our next tasting. So we hit Sudbury and Guatemala. So now we're going to be, well, I guess we'll have to go farming first in Venezuela, kind of in and around the Maracaibo region, which is kind of the northern, it's on the Caribbean Sea, that general area on the coastline. And the beans are making their way to Italy, where they're being processed by Domori for their 70% Lago single origin Venezuela dark chocolate bar. So I have covered Domori in September's Flight Club package and vlog. If you're interested in learning about that, I will link it in the description. But in the meantime, we will just be focusing on this Lago Venezuela single origin blend. This you'll also be able to see lists Trinitario 70%. The Trinitario is a hybrid genotype of the cocoa bean that's a mixture of the Forastero, which is the very common cocoa bean, as well as the Criollo, which is, the super rare, sought out, like less than 0.1% of the world's cocoa production is Criollo beans, but the Trinitario is a hybrid of those two. This blend is obviously from Venezuela, and that is touted as one of the cocoa capitals of the world due to their consistently high quality cacao beans. There is pretty little room for doubt. No matter the chocolate maker, craft chocolate makers are likely working with some sort of Venezuelan cacao. If they aren't actively working with it, I can guarantee you they can speak to the quality of Venezuelan cacao. Although this blend in particular is, a great testament to the cocoa that comes from that region. The blend has pretty low acidity and astringency, but it gives way to, an absolutely exceptional and aromatic flavor profile with secondary notes of both coffee and almond. The Domori blend has excellent finesse and elegance, plus it has the added fun of a very friendly looking sloth on it. I don't think I've seen a happier looking sloth in my life. You can only imagine how long it took him to get that smile going. That's what I expect a sloth's time it takes to smile. Maybe it's longer, and I got to do a little more zoology. But it's fun. It's great, and obviously sloths are native to Venezuela. Thus, it's an animal that is representative of the country. That's why it's on the packaging. He's got a great smile. He's hanging from a tree. I support trees. Earth Day, it's great. It's a lot of fun. I think it's fun. So enjoy it. Don't keep him hanging too long, literally, as he is smiling and waiting for you to crack into this chocolate blend. Don't forget to take notes and note down all those secondary flavor profiles you're picking up. Actually, it'd be pretty interesting to compare against Guatemala, because geographically, they're not all too far from one another, if you can even see where I'm pointing. But, they will have completely different flavor profiles despite being a similar, generally similar process and cocoa content. All right, so now that we have covered Domori, we'll be departing Italy and we'll be heading right up into Belgium, and we'll be tasting Millésime 90% dark chocolate bar, single origin, Tanzania. Millésime actually translates to vintage, as these bars are all cocoa vintages, similar to wine. Each cocoa has its own flavor profiles, secondary notes. You've heard me say plenty of times this video, but more specifically what Millésime is focusing on is not just the region in which the cocoa beans are coming from, but also what year's harvest that those beans were farmed. As you can see here, we have a 2019 harvest, and it is pretty interesting as, if you have a 2019 harvest and then there's a massive storm or some, environmental or ecosystem change in that next calendar year, that same exact tree that you harvested the 2019 crop from could yield, not night and day flavor profile differences, but you will be able to pick up different flavor profiles year over year in some cases, depending on what happened to the vegetation in that area. Millésime was actually founded by Jean-Christophe Hubert, who he, actually had a stronger art history background until he, kind of followed his passion of being a foodie and more specifically chocolate foods, and kind of went out to do what he could to take classes, learn more, and educate himself about the bean to bar chocolate making world. The program that Jean-Christophe Hubert went through in his studies has an exceptionally long name. So the acronym for it is the CIRAD program, and it is the Center of Agricultural Research for the Development of Sensory Analysis of Chocolate and Cocoa Expertise. So a little tough to remember, and still working on getting that teleprompter. So I hope you don't mind me looking over at a note really quick. But that is literally like the number one class that you can take when it comes to just focusing on encapsulating those natural flavor profiles and things along those lines. It's more so than just the taste, but it's about the full sensory experience, and that, looking at it first, smelling it, breaking it off, and then, hearing the snap, feeling it as you're breaking it, and then finally resulting in the big part that y'all wait for more than anything, the tasting aspect. But the whole chocolate, tasting experience is more about getting all of your senses involved, as opposed to just, throwing it back like, a couple of M&Ms, because there's a lot more thought and passion that goes into these craft chocolate blends. The Millésime bars are certified organic as well, and this one actually won a 2020 International Organic Foods Award. So you can see they did actually include the stamp on the packaging here. Kind of just elevates the overall appearance, but phenomenal blend, and it is one of the darkest we've included in our Flight Club package. So don't steer clear if you're a little shy of 90%. So this blend is using, as I had mentioned, the Tanzanian beans. We have Tanzania right here, and it's the Kilimanjaro Valley region within Tanzania. So typically your kind of, your Forastero, kind of your bulk, massive production scale cocoa beans are coming from Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, these regions in here. But kind of the more, finer chocolates and the fine cacao, you'll find more so in the Madagascar and Tanzania regions in Africa. Jean-Christophe Hubert is working with the Cocoa Kamili co-op, which is, a co-op in Tanzania. The farmers are located in a small village of Mbingu, and I apologize if I didn't pronounce that right, but that actually translates to paradise in Swahili, and cocoa is paradise, earth is paradise, so just another way that we can better include as much of the map as we can. They are quite exceptional. You don't just win a gold international award without having some pretty high quality chocolate, so this is just speaking to that quality. Alright, so now that we have covered this exceptional blend, we'll be moving on to our latest addition to our vast chocolate catalog. It is North South Confections, a Brooklyn-based chocolatier. Obviously, you should probably know where Brooklyn is, right by New York City. This is a 36% single origin Colombian cacao out of the Santander, Colombia region. 36% milk, and it has a spicy creme brulee flavor infusion. North South Confections is a newer company in the chocolate world, although the founder, Justine Pringle, is no novice to working with chocolate. She began working with chocolate back in 2006, and then it actually was when COVID, the pandemic, hit. If you haven't heard of it, that she kind of pursued, shifting gears and creating more of a, branded chocolate. The company name North-South Confections is kind of a nod to the founder, Justine, and her siblings, who kind of, work with her in managing the company. So her brother is based in Texas, and her two step siblings are in South Africa. So, north, south, get it, confections. I think it's cute. It's fun. And the quality of chocolate is absolutely exceptional. Her chocolates, despite being relatively newer in the U.S. market, have already been on Bon Appetit's best chocolates in America, specifically her caramels. We do have an excellent caramel gift box collection from North South that is also worth trying out, but this is an excellent introduction into their brand. All of the chocolate is actually produced from bean to chocolate in Colombia, and it is then exported as finished chocolate to the States, in which Justine chocolatiers with. She's had a relationship with the farm since 2007, and they are following all sorts of direct trade practices and ensuring the farmers are getting more than what a typical wage would be for procuring cacao beans. So, all right, so let's get into it. This is a 36% milk chocolate, and it has a spicy creme brulee flavor infusion. This is probably the best sweet and spicy bar that I have tasted up to this point in time, which I think is saying a lot considering how many chocolates I taste all the time. But it's literally a perfect sweet and spicy harmony. Like, I can't describe it any other way. Justine is a massive fan of Formula One racing, or F1, if you're familiar with that. Thus, you have, an F1 race car on the packaging. She actually named one of her children after one of the world's best F1 drivers. So when you're consuming this blend, it will be a little lighter and, sweet and smooth from the get-go, although there is a chili pepper infusion, and that heat does develop, but in no way is it overpowering once it's across your palate. It, again, is just the perfect sweet and spicy mix. So they do have a few other blends beyond the Sunset Spice that we have here, although more and more North-South Confections will be coming out as time moves on, as do all things. But we're really excited to partner with North-South Confections and get their products out there. So this blend, I'm sure anyone will love. All right, so I think we've just about covered our North-South Confections introduction. So we'll be moving on to our in-flight treat. So you may have already come across it, but if you haven't, we've hid 5 Easter eggs, chocolate Easter eggs, in your box, and they're going to be looking something like this. And but there's something else in there. That is one of Dolphin's sugar and salt collection, 60% dark chocolate bars with grilled pistachios and Punjab salt. The Punjab salt is it's kind of like Himalayan pink salt. It's specifically coming from kind of this region up here, northern India, eastern Pakistan, and the salt mines that they're kind of harvesting these pink salts from are said or thought to be over 800 million years old. But it's also just a good way to taste what's in Earth. Considering how old the salt is of this blend, I would guesstimate that the pink salt would have about 1 billion years in its posted Best By date if we're at 800 million in this, and it's still, rock solid, great Himalayan salt. Maybe it'll go bad after 1 billion years, but we got about 200 million more years until we get there to find out. So until that time comes, we'll just enjoy it. But there's no real better way to enjoy Earth Day than eat directly out of the earth. We did not include any dirt in this Flight Club package, but that really would have made it earthy as a dirt base. I'm glad we didn't, as that would be ridiculous. But beyond that, we have 5 Easter eggs in here as well. They are from Nirvana, Belgian chocolate, out of obviously Belgium. You know, Belgian chocolate comes from Belgium. But we have 5 individually foil wrapped eggs. We have Easter and Passover coming in. So you can see they all have their own different color in here, the eggs. So just to go over these flavors real quick, the pink is a dark chocolate with raspberry, the orange is a milk chocolate with creme brulee, the yellow is the silver is a dark chocolate with salted caramel, the violet is a white chocolate with a like coffee cream filling, and then the yellow milk chocolate with a praline crisp. Did have to check on that last one. So other than that, laser focus and no more looking at notes, because we've just about covered this month's Flight Club package. So I hope you have had as much fun as I have this month and living in the theme of Earth Day, plus we have the added bonus themes of Easter and Passover. So until next month's package, keep on keeping on, eat, sleep, breathe, chocolate. Cheers.